certainly see the role of sport and sporting clubs as an important part of helping people who are missing out on the mainstream benefits of society. I can give a couple of, I mean, there are many examples, but let me give just a couple, and I'm more familiar with what's happening in perhaps Indigenous Australia than overseas. But you go to Shepparton and there's an Aboriginal football club in Shepparton called Rumballara, and some people actually don't think you should have an Aboriginal football team playing in mainstream competition because they feel that's almost a form of apartheid. But in fact, what I don't think they understand is that there's quite a large Aboriginal community there that's quite marginalised from the mainstream activity in the town, and what they lack are bridges. And what the footy club does in participating in mainstream football competitions, it provides a bridge for young Aboriginal men and girls in their basketball teams to engage with the mainstream community on an equal basis. And actually that sort of experience becomes a pretty profound platform off which you can then start talking about schooling and employment experiences as well. The Geelong Footy Club's got a program up in Groote Eylandt in the Northern Territory, and when we went there 6 years ago, we found a whole bunch of guys on the island who trained 6 days a week. At 4 o'clock they trained every day and were desperate to play against somebody because there was no competition, but they trained every week. Well, now, with the help of the footy club, there's a competition there with 6 teams, and there is a connection between people who are playing football regularly and those people who are getting employment in the mine, because the mine obviously is very insistent on being free of drugs and things like that, and the people who, there is a strong propensity for people who are playing sport not to be engaged in the drug scene and stuff like that, and so that's really important. And Clontarf, you've probably heard of the Clontarf program, which has got probably now 2 or 3 or 4, 5,000 young people who are coming from very marginal backgrounds, for whom sport is their pathway, possible pathway into opportunity. And I guess what I see in those situations, sport providing, it obviously provides skill and disciplines which become really helpful in the workplace. It gives people confidence to engage with groups in the community who they otherwise might feel intimidated by, and obviously sport is a source of joy and community cohesion. I went to the Tiwi Islands Grand Final a couple of years ago, and Tiwi Islands has had a lot of sad things happen there, but the celebration of football in the community there was just a palpable example of what it can do. So sport's not everything, but particularly if you can find a sport that the people are obsessed by, it then provides a great incentive to them to do some hard yards, which become really important steps on the way to lives with better outcomes for them.